Hello, everyone. Can you hear me, Michaela?
I can hear you.
Excellent. I had to hit the mic. I just want to, really, I know we might be having a little technical difficulties today because the producer was saying that we kind of grainy, we stopping and stuff like that. Hopefully, it's not so serious that you're unable to get the message that we're going to be sharing with you all today. Because we got a lot of stuff to teach you in natural hygiene this March. We're raising the conscious minds of mankind where we don't have to be around here suffering with all that disease. Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing if we could go about our daily lives not having the headaches, the pains, the coughing, the sneezing, and all the, well, those are kind of okay, but when they start getting to some of those chronic issues like the cancers, the lupus, and all the other issues, we definitely don't want to get to that. But we're going to learn a little bit more about that today. We had a great month last month where we were talking about fasting. Hopefully, y'all got a bunch of information about that. And if you have any questions on this show while we're up here, definitely, send a message and we'll stop and talk about it right there. So I'm your host, Dr. Ferrante Frazier. I'm a holistic doctor. I'm not a medical man. Because if you think that your issue is a medical issue and only medicine can heal you, by all means, find you a reputable medical doctor to help aid you in that. I'm not a herbalist or any of the so-called healing modalities. If you think that your disease will succumb to herbs and remedies, find your herbalist who can helpfully guide you in that direction. I am a natural health practitioner and nutritionist that teach you the rightful living habits that will reverse those issues that you're having and allow your body to rebuild itself naturally as it was intended to be. So nothing in our teachings will be anything about medicine, herbs, remedies, or cures. We believe that the body cures itself, and that we're going to leave it at that. How you doing today, Miss Michaela?
I am doing excellent, Dr. Frazier. I am out and about in the beautiful historic city of Savannah, headed to the west side, which is the best side.
Oh, don't let other people in Savannah hear you say that. So sad I'm not in Savannah anymore. I'm on the outskirts. I had to get up on the outskirts of Savannah.
That's all right. You are forgiven.
All right, no problem. How your day going, though?
Excellent. Excellent, sir. How about yours?
Pretty good, pretty good. Well, as we always do this, we're not reading from J.H. Tilden this month. We gave him the whole month of February, and I think we went into him even last Tuesday when we was already in the month of March.
Yeah, we did.
But we're now in March, and we're gonna deal with Sylvester Graham. I don't know if you ever heard of his name, Dr. Sylvester Graham.
I think so.
Well, he's the one. If you listen to the last name is Graham, a lot of people would know him by the graham cracker or the graham cookie.
Really? That's
Yeah.
that's who that is?
As a matter of fact, they used to go by a lot of his followers used to go by Grahamites. They were called Grahamites.
No.
Yes,
Really, the graham cracker man? Really?
they were called Grahamites. See, he was trying to teach them a more, getting them away from the meats and stuff like that. So he kind of came up with that. But he was actually a very prominent hygienic doctor in his day and time.
Okay.
He kind of got away from all the use of medicines and herbs and remedies and stuff like that, even in his own practice. And actually, people got mad at him that they even said that he tricked them into healing themselves. I know that sounds crazy.
Okay. Okay.
I think he gave them some water pills and some bread pills, and they got it and got healthy. And when they found out that they wasn't really taking medicine, they got mad at him and say, "How
Yeah.
you tricked us like this?" But they got healed. The people who went ahead and continuously took the medical medicine, they got sicker, and most of them died. But they said, "Well, how did he just? Why didn't he give us the real
Right.
stuff?" Well, you would have died. you know. But they got mad at him. So as I read, I want you to expound on it. Are you able to do that while you're driving, Miguel?
I won't be driving much longer, Dr. Frazier.
All right. Well, this is our health minister, and we're about to let her break down the words of hygiene. All right. All right. So here I'm about to read one of them right here. It said the hygienic view of health habits insists that we consider the relationship of the individual to his environment in any discussion about health. To attempt to discuss the health of a person without relating him to the environment which supports him, upon which he is entirely dependent, is useless. What do you think about that, Miguel?
Well, I think that it's if I can say these things, it's idiocy to think that your environment does not play a large part in your health, your wellness, and your well-being. And if I can just share real quick, I didn't call you last week. My teenager missed a couple of days from school. He had a fever.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't do thermometers because a fever is your friend, right? So, so he's running this fever and he's not feeling good. Well, then the coughing started. And I'm thinking, okay, well, this will run its course and we'll be okay, but he missed a day of school.
Mm-hmm.
The following morning, the fever broke and I thought, okay, he's better, right?
Mm-hmm.
He went to school that day. The nurse called me midway through school, and I had to go pick him up. That I dropped him off at home and went back to work. But that night when I got home, he was coughing. He said his stomach was hurting. He told me the back of his legs was hurting. He was just, he was just done for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I went in his room. He's my teenager, okay? And I pass by there and it look all right. And then if it look all right and then nothing it don't smell so bad in the hallway in front of the door, all is well. Well, I decided, you know what, let me wash his sheets. I'm gonna wash his sheets and clean his bed up so he can get back in, so he can sleep there and it'll be a clean environment, right?
That's right.
Dr. Frazier, that room was so filthy. That boy had fruit, he had bread, he had remnants of all kinds of things that he had eaten. He's saving shoe boxes and bags that he liked. I said, well, then my goodness, my baby's a whole.
He's a hoarder, huh? Look like we lost you for a second.
We don't get sick. We claim divine health. We walk in health. We walk in the authority of the knowledge of health. And so we don't get sick. So I figured, this little fever would pass. But you talking about a nasty place. That room was some kind of nasty, Dr. Frazier. And it just reminded me of the trash can. This germ that you got had a great environment. You provided a place for it to come into you and just have a field day, multiply itself and have babies and families and all that stuff right inside of your being and make you sick. I cleaned the room and he stayed sick, half of the next day. But he's fine. Absolutely.
So let me ask you this. If you would have gave him some medicine, some herbs, some remedies or whatever, and didn't go in there and clean that room, stop him from eating that stuff that he was eating, remove all that waste material out of there, what good would have been the medication? What good have been the herbs and the remedies and such?
I don't understand the question, Dr. Frazier. First of all, I would not have given him that. So what you're saying, because
okay,
I know that.
Let's say for the listeners, let's say, for example, if let's just say, I know you wouldn't do this.
Okay.
But let's say that he was suffering from that and you read, somebody told you, hey, you need to take him to a chiropractor and get him an adjustment and he'll feel better. So you go get the adjustment and he come back home and go lay down in that same filthy bed with the same filthy trash in there. What good would the adjustment have done?
It would not have done any good. It would have been temporary. Whatever would have good could have come out of it for the immediate, but it still would have just been suppressing symptoms. And in that filthy environment, he would just reinfest himself or reinfect himself, or whatever, however we contract our disease, without having a clean environment. It's just a cycle.
Yeah. So we're not actually fighting anything. The body is not fighting anything. All it's doing is trying to preserve itself in this environment. If something comes in this environment that is irritating it, it's going to work to eliminate it out of the body. Mm-hmm. That elimination we call a purge, a disease, an acute disease or something like that. It's just the body activity doing what it was designed to do to keep itself living and preserving. So there's nothing fighting. We think that it's fighting viruses and germs and whatnot, but the body is really just releasing waste material that is threatening its survival. The waste material is inert. It's dead material, but the body cannot make use of it. It can't turn it into flesh, bones, and blood. So by it being useful, then it's actually irritating. It's toxic to the body. And the body must act on this toxicity and remove it, as it have to follow the law of life, which is the great law, which says that, it's there to preserve itself, So if it's not preserving itself, then it will go out and die, and the body don't want to die. So it's at all times trying to free itself of waste. Now, it can't do so if this environment is continuously toxic. If the environment is not conducive for it to grow, if it's not, favorable for it to get fresh air, if it's not favorable for it to get sunlight, if it's not favorable for it to, eating wholesome food, if it's not favorable getting, adequate, clean, pure water, freedom from stress, normal temperatures, then that environment is actually volatile to the organism. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It threatens the life of the organism. We can look at a plant. We can take a regular plant. For those who grow vegetables and getting ready for the growing season, which we should be definitely doing this weekend, man.
Yes.
We'll talk about that after the show, though.
Okay.
But we can look at a plant. We know the plant requires a certain condition for it to grow, and every plant got its own set of conditions to yield the best, beautifulest plant with the most abundant fruits or vegetables that we can harvest in the end. But if we don't supply that plant with ideal soil, with a good pH balance, if we don't give that plant adequate water, not overwatered, but watered according to its needs for water. Make sure that it get adequate sunlight, not too much sunlight unless it asks for direct sunlight. Each plant got its own requirements. The kind of plants. Now all squash plants require the same thing. Now all watermelons require the same. So all humans are a type of being that require a certain science that natural hygiene teaches, that we need a certain amount of sunlight. We need clean water. We need the right ideal food, which is, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. And we need to eat that in moderation and when in the right combination, when we're in the right state of mind, right?
Okay.
How often do we eat like that? You know what I'm saying? Think about it. How often do you see somebody eating when they're hungry, first of all? Most people are eating because what? The clock is telling them they're hungry.
Right, because it's time.
Yeah, it's lunchtime. The clock, and then everybody at the job is hungry at the same time. All the children at school are hungry at the same time, and we're forcing them to eat even when they're not hungry. We're having our children grazing, and we're wondering why they're suffering with diseases because we're feeding them to death, literally. That's really what happened. So I'm gonna finish this part off, and you can go ahead and finish it off, and we're gonna go to the next one because we're gonna have to take a break in a minute. Oftentimes, it is necessary if we're to achieve success with some people that we change their environment radically. We sometimes have to get people out of their jobs, out of the city, and out of the pressure of their everyday existence. Otherwise, they simply cannot get well. This was Dr. Alec Burton back in 1980. He made that statement. What do you think about that?
I totally agree with that. I don't know the adjustment, but I absolutely agree with that, because the people that you're around, like you just said it, everybody on the job is hungry at the same time. When the bell ring, it's time to go to lunch, and when the bell ring again, it's time for you to go back to work. So if you didn't get the lunch, so it creates that. And the same thing at school. So you have to remove a person from an environment that is not conducive to health in order for them to have health. But then, that proves very difficult in certain circumstances, or just wrapping your mind around, how you're going to live your life, taking control of your life. Do you really want this health? Do you really want pristine health? Because a lot of things people can change as far as their eating habits are concerned, or how much sun they get, or drinking pure water. But people are in unhealthy relationships, or or they're in toxic environments, like on jobs that they hate, which is also an unhealthy relationship. And you can be practicing the dietary part of natural health, but like you often say, if you're eating an apple in a burning building, that apple isn't doing you any good.
Oh, good.
So I think that's what that's saying. Oftentimes you do have to remove a person from that environment. And if I can have just another second, it
Go
makes
ahead.
me think about when people are ill to the point of being in the hospital, and the doctors are saying, we've done what we can do. Oftentimes in what we've seen, and I think you will attest to this, Dr. Frazier, it's almost like that's the best time for somebody to be healed, because especially when you felt like all of this time, it was the medical mentality and the medical way to go, that you can that's going to heal you, and then they've come to the end of themselves. But when they leave you alone, and you can't get these toxins, they leave the body to itself.
Mm-hmm.
And actually then the body actually has an opportunity to heal itself.
That's powerful.
I've seen it happen, and I'm you have to.
So many times.
Yeah.
So, it's better for the person, it's always ideal that a person, don't go to that extent, you know what I'm saying, to allow their body to heal. Hopefully, the first time they hear us teach this, they say, oh, well, you mean to tell me I can get rid of this issue without having to go and take a bunch of medicine, without having to go take chemotherapy, without having to go take these special treatments, without all this surgery, taking out organs and stuff like that? You mean to tell me I can save my tonsils and don't have to take them out? You mean to tell me I can save my adenoid, my gallbladder, my all my appendix? I don't have to sacrifice tissues and organs in my body just to keep on eating my hamburger, my hot dogs, smoking my cigarettes, drinking my drinks, sniffing my cocaine, and all kind of stuff, that habits that we have. And not just that, we even talk about drinking that milk, those cereals. We keep up with the little Debbie cakes. A lot of people think that bad habits is cracking cocaine and liquor and smoking, but the bad habits we see right there in our refrigerator, right there in our kitchen cabinet. Go ahead.
The sandwich. The sandwich is killing us by the millions.
Mm-hmm.
It is killing us by the millions. You putting, and it's quick, it's fast, it's in a hurry. According to the standard American diet, it can be a whole well-balanced meal,
According to who?
The SAD diet, the
The
Standard
SAD diet,
American diet. Yes, the
the
Standard American
American diet.
diet. Yeah. And the sandwich is a bad habit. It's probably one of the worst habits in America.
And why so? Why is it so toxic, that sandwich?
Well, because of the combination. Because you have
Most people don't know what you mean when you say that now.
the combination.
Yeah, they don't know what you're talking about when you talk about combination. Now, you got to remember, we talking to listeners who don't know about natural hygiene. You're talking because you know natural hygiene. All right. So when you say these combinations, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about making a sandwich. I'm talking about putting bread and meat together.
Well, what's wrong with eating bread and meat?
In the same meal.
What's wrong with eating bread and meat?
Well, they're not. First of all, they're outside of the ideal diet for the human body: fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. And meat and bread are none of those. So you've got your bread, which is a complex carbohydrate. I think health seekers know what that means. So you've got the complex carbohydrate, and then you've got this animal protein, that neither one should you eat. But if you do eat them, there is a way to eat them so that they properly digest as much as the body,
at least try to attempt to digest
as much as the body can digest that. There's a way when you eat them singularly, but when you put them together, they cancel each other because it takes different enzymes. And if I'm not mistaken, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Fraser. Those enzymes, those of digestion, to break down our food, those things occur in the mouth. And then when
the one that breaks down the carbohydrates is amylase, salivary amylase. They call it Tylen.
Okay.
Right? So it's the enzyme that it's a starch splitting enzyme. It breaks down the carbohydrates into simple sugars.
Okay. And then there is one for meat, for protein.
Pepsin breaks down protein into amino acids.
Right. Yeah. But then when you combine meat, the protein and the carbohydrate at the same time, you can only get one. So the mouth, the saliva, right, is only going to produce one or the other.
Well, it's only going to produce amylase. It's never going to produce pepsin. Pepsin is produced in the bottom of the stomach where hydrochloric acid is.
Okay.
Pepsin can only activate and do stuff in an acidic environment. So it can only do it in the stomach. And it can only activate itself when the environment is acidic. You got to be really acid. And then the pepsin will come down there and break down that meat. Now, for example, if you eat a piece of meat, you put it in your mouth and you hold it in your mouth, it's going to stay there. But if you put a piece of bread in your mouth, as soon as you put that bread in your mouth, what start happening? It starts dissolving.
It starts to dissolve.
Because the enzyme in the mouth is already breaking it down.
Mm-hmm.
It can't. Now, Amy is never found amylase. I call amylase Amy. You know what I mean? And I call pepsin Pep. You know what I'm saying? But amylase, or Amy, she comes, and I don't know why I'm saying she, but because she's more alkaline. She's more dainty. She's not as rough and rugged like pepsin, which is acidic. All right. So if anyone know about the pH balance scale, you got, the acid and you got the alkaline. All right. Acid is 0 to like probably about 5.8. Alkaline is from 6.1 all the way up to 14. All right. 7.1 all the way up to 14. All right. So for a pH balance 7, that's neutral. I don't want to sound too scientific, so I'm gonna get off this in just a minute.
You're very scientific right now, Doc.
No. Well, the pH balance of water, distilled water, is 7. It's not alkaline, nor is it acidic. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Amy have to be more alkaline. You have to have an alkaline medium in your mouth. Now, notice if your mouth, if it was acidic like your stomach, it would burn your mouth up. Your teeth would be all corroded and all type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the Amy in your mouth, it can only activate in such an environment of the mouth. In the stomach, that's why you got to make sure you chew up your bread and don't swallow the whole bread because it's not going to digest in your stomach. When you're sitting there eating carbohydrates and you swallow them down without chewing them, believe it or not, they're never going to get digested that
Right.
way. Now, in the stomach, there's pepsin. Pepsin is there to break down the proteins into amino acids, but it's going to only do it in the stomach. All right. Now, if you push the bread down into the stomach, the bread is going to soak up the acid.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's not going to be no acid there to break down the meat. So the meat going to sit in your stomach and rot.
And right.
And the bread can't be digested because it's full of acid. So alkaline amine is not going to activate on that bread. So that's going to make it difficult for it to digest as well. So that's going to ferment. So you're going to be around here having belching. You're going to have that gnawing, that rumbling going on in the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be around here, passing gas and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's going to be going on.
Right.
Now, there is a enzyme produced by the pancreas called amylase as well. But it's only going to be released in the small intestines when we didn't have proper digestion from salivary amylase. But to use that all the time will eventually cause pancreatic failure or some type of inflammation of the pancreas. So you don't want to go using that, but that's in a whole nother story as well. All right. So we did get off the subject just a little bit because we had to talk about this the sandwich that you talked about. So let's get back to the sandwich.
Well, it's a nasty habit. That's all I was saying, Doc. It's a nasty habit, and we have our bad habits, and the sandwich is definitely one.
So tell us some more combinations that that mimic the sandwich that we eat that will do the same destruction as the sandwich.
Steak and potatoes.
Steak and potatoes, because that's meat and what? Carb. The same thing.
Spaghetti and meatballs.
Spaghetti and meatballs. You got noodles and you got meatballs, and then you got a fruit, a tomato. That's already acid. So yes, definitely.
Yeah. I know when I used to eat like that, my favorite meal was pork chop and white rice. smothered pork chop and white rice.
And you didn't have corn with that?
No, you know what? I never really did eat corn because as a kid. Yeah, I mean, we all know about corn. You eat it and then you see it again, and it looked just like it did when you ate it. So as a kid, corn kind of turned me off. So no, I never really did corn. And that was before I even knew that it wasn't food.
Well, it's depending on when if you grew it and ate it right there off the stalk, like soon as you would be like how Jesus went walking through the cornfield and shuck it and ate it right then.
Right.
You can make use of it because it's not so starchy when it's coming right off the thing. But soon as you take it off within hours, it starts becoming a complex starch. It makes it really hard for us to digest. So you have to eat it raw and right there out of the field.
Yeah.
But we don't do that. That stuff sit on the shelf for weeks before we get it.
But all of those things, Doc, because that's what we do, especially in the South. I don't know about other places. I mean, I'm from here, so I know a lot about how we eat in coming up here, and it's either rice, biscuits, or cornbread, and some kind of meat.
Oxtails and rice. Come on, say it. Oxtails and rice, turkey wings and rice. Come on, now. Don't muzzle it just for the people. They're getting ready to the fish and bread. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Come on, cornbread, neck bones, pigtails. Go ahead and tell them, man.
Just all of those things. Every one of them, those combinations. Chicken, Popeyes, chicken and biscuits. They got a sign on
Chicken and
the
biscuits.
roof.
Chicken and biscuits.
They
Chicken
got a
and
sign
biscuits.
on the roof. Yeah.
Chicken and biscuits.
Yeah, we do that.
Hot dog.
Oh my, they doing chicken and waffles now.
Chicken and waffles. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Chicken
You
and
know,
waffles.
usually I get clients, and you know this. Most clients that I usually have, I have them when they first come to me. I have them send me a picture of everything they're eating for about a week or so.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them, hey, for the next week, I want you to send me a picture of everything you eat. I hardly ever see anyone eating any fruit that first week. You know what I mean? I see them for a whole week. They have no fruit whatsoever. The vegetables that they have ain't even considered vegetables. They'll be like beans, lima beans, and stuff like that. And they would say that, hey, that was my vegetables, you know, or they just wouldn't have vegetables at all, like, you know. And I would be like, I said, well, where do you get your vitamins and minerals from? You know, and they say, well, I'm eating my food. Wouldn't I get it from the food I'm eating? There's no vitamins and minerals in that food that you're eating.
No food. There's no food in that food.
Right. There's no food in that food, you know.
Right.
I said, you wonder why your bones aching, why your skin is not healing, why your body is not. You're in deficiency right now because you've been starving yourself. Oh, how I'm starving? I eat 3 meals a day. Yes, you're eating 3 meals of nothingness. You know, there has no nutrition in it. You know, so the only way that we can, you know, imagine we give a cow nothing but meat. We see what happened when we gave cows nothing but corn. It plucks them up real fat, but they end up mad cow and diseased up and all type of stuff. When you let them go out and just eat grass, their real food, they don't suffer disease.
Right.
But when you change any being or animal or organism away from this ideal diet, they start suffering with dis-ease. But we need to take a break. Producer, you can go ahead and take us to break if you're with us. If not, we're going to keep going. Well, the producer that we have here today, he may be stepped away from the computer for a minute. That's why I said it the way I said it, all right? So, since he did, that gives us a little more time to talk, you know. All right. So, what we going to talk about today, I'm going to read from Dr. Shelton's book. And the subject that we was going to teach on today was, you know, disease is the cure. All right. Disease is the cure.
Yes.
So when we're going to try to, you know, we go to the doctor complaining about our, like, say, for example, the fever, the sneezing, the coughing, the, you know, all the things that, what the NyQuil thing usually say on it.
Oh, man. The sneezy, coffee, stuffy head, fever.
So you can rest medicine.
Right. Right.
So all them things that, what's the name of the stuff? It was just right now tip of my tongue.
NyQuil.
NyQuil, yeah. NyQuil. All the stuff that NyQuil is said to stop is actually your body activity getting rid of waste, trying to heal itself, trying to purge itself of stuff. So you can't rest because your body is in a crisis state.
at night, right.
You know, your body is in a crisis mode. It's trying to get rid of some waste. This waste is threatening to kill you. You want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
The body want to go to sleep, but it ain't about to go to sleep when an intruder is in there. Waste is building up in the body, so it's trying to get rid of this stuff. Right. So it's steady got you coughing. And get that stuff up out of here, you know. It got you sneezing. It's got the stuff coming out through your armpits and all type of stuff like that. But when you take this medicine, what this medicine does? It
suppresses your symptoms. It stops it. It dries it up. It gets rid of your stuffy head. It bring your fever down. It stop you from sneezing and coughing, and then you can rest.
there was some research done where they were showing the activities of a fly. They say a regular fly
Mm-hmm.
in the summer dies quicker than a fly in the winter because the activity of the fly is faster in the summer because of its heat. It makes its metabolism work faster and it dies off faster. So a fly might last about a day or two in the summer because it'll be done flapped its wings and worked itself so fast. But in the winter, it's slower. So its metabolism is slower in the winter. So it actually live up to about 20 some days versus a fly in the summer that's only 3 days. So what they were noticing that enzymes work faster in heat and slower
Mm-hmm.
in cold. So
Mm-hmm.
enzymatic activity now works faster in heat. So the
Mm-hmm.
body, you don't think the body knows the same thing too? Because the body raises its own heat for enzymatic activity. Because see, when your body is
Right.
going through healing, those are enzymes in your body, metabolic enzymes, they call them, healing enzymes that are in your body doing repair work. You got the maids in there just a cleaning and washing windows and sweeping floors and all stuff, trying to get all this trash up out and get your internal environment clean. But
Okay.
it only can do that when it's warm, when they got noise in there and they making it happen. They got their earphones on and listening to music, and then they're just a sweeping and this a cleaning. But when
Okay.
it's cold, your body go cold. There's no enzymatic activity. That's death. you know.
Okay.
But when it's I don't know if you hear some of them people in church back in the day when they testify. I'm glad that the blood is still running warm in my veins.
That's right.
Yeah, you know.
That's
So,
right.
but long as the body is heated up, and it will heat itself up even more from faster enzymatic activity. So enzymes work faster when the heat is up. So
Okay.
when fever, that means enzymes are going to be going even faster to hurry up and heal the situation. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It does
So
make sense.
if a person is presenting themselves as a fever, why would we break that fever?
Right.
Now the enzymes of the body are not going to be able to go what? Do their work of healing
Right. Right.
because temperature ain't up enough for it yet.
Right.
Once it
Right.
gets finished healing, guess what the body does?
It regulates its temperature.
It brings it right back down.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Mm-hmm.
according to natural hygiene, Dr. Sheldon, he was talking about how back in the days, a lot of the the um, the misconception scientific community thought disease was an entity of its own self. Like the fever had a old body. Like fever was actually a disease itself. Like a
Mm-hmm.
fever came
Mm-hmm.
out of the blue from over yonder and just jumped on somebody and caused them to start burning up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Like yellow fever.
right, it's some type of fever, right? But every disease, every symptom or anything, they thought of those as bodies of sicknesses. Like they had their own body, like it was a demon invading the body and causing the body to start acting erratic. And there was a
Okay.
fever demon. There was a diabetic demon, a high blood pressure demon, and all these demons. Now, the spiritual community would exercise the demon by using incantations. They would use prayer. They would do all their rituals, burning and sacrifices and stuff like that. The witch doctors and so-called charlatries, they would use different remedies, herbal remedies that they would put together. They would go find some of the most noxious stuff in the woods and bring it back and make a concoction of it. And then
Right.
they tell you, hey, drink this. This is going to drive out that evil spirit up out of you. Now, if we fast forward to the present day, we still have medical men with
Yeah.
the same type of mindset that there is something invading the body and it must be conquered. And we have to fight and battle this thing. They don't see disease as the body activity,
Right.
freeing waste, overcoming our bad habits, overcoming our unhealthy environment. Does that make sense now? So that's why, according to the medical science, we're never going to be free of disease because we're still taking from the dark age the information to bring into what we call medical science. And so that's why we're seeing people still suffering with sickness.
Well, Dr. Frazier, it's profitable.
That it is.
It was profitable then, and it's profitable now. That's all I had.
Oh, okay. Well, you're so true, because it's so profitable that even the news people make money off of the advertising. If you look on the television, after looking at Dr. Phil's show or Judge Judy or whatever, in between, you see them with so many medical commercials telling you, hey, have you been feeling down? You know, is it hard for you to sleep at night? Is it hard for you to digest your food? Or this and this? Oh, we got a remedy for you. We got this new drug. You need to ask your doctor to tell them to put you on it. You know, so even the TV, the television stations are making huge profits off the drugging industry. Not only them, you got the newspapers, you got the people who make the pill bottles, the people who make the syringes. You know, you got all these drug companies that got all these chemical compounds and all that. All of them are making money. You know, you got nurses. You got nurses with all different types of letters, RNAs, CNAs, LPNs, and all type of letters, you know, of the alphabet. You got doctors who run all these universities and hospitals. You got a bunch of private practices. You got insurance companies that's making money off of. You got so many people who are profiting off of the medical mindset.
Yeah.
So to eradicate or radically change and reform our mindset in our health industry, it would put a lot of people out of business. So they're not trying to lose their interest. You know, when you start teaching the people that, hey, all these drugs and remedies and treatments and salves and all type of stuff is toxic. Even the herb man. You got some herb men won't teach people true holistic health because they say there's no money in it. You know what I mean? And we know that for a fact when we first started this thing.
Don't we know it?
They didn't want to pay money at all, right? But we kept on teaching without even getting paid. We're healing without even getting paid. There was no money in it. That's true. Ain't no money in, and there's not much money allocated to true health. But to curing remedies and stuff like that, and relief, oh man, they'll pay big money for relief, but obedience, not too many people who want to hear that they're the reason for their own bad habit, right?
That's right.
Hey, I got something about relief I want to share with you. All right. Tell me what you think about it. At any time you can stop me, all right? But we're reading from Dr. Sheldon. The relief system is basically false. If we was in physical anguish as a consequence of gluttony, we demand immediate relief. First, because we want to be made comfortable. Second, because we want to be able to partake of the next big feed, which is already being planned or prepared, for which the mouth is already drooling in anticipation. You know, most people, I had someone the other day, and I really don't want to say this because they might be listening right now. You know what I mean? But I'm going to say it anyhow. Please forgive me. Don't be offended. But I was telling them I pretty much don't eat nothing but fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, right? And they was like, well, you need to eat it. Where you get your protein from? You know, that's the favorite question that people who don't eat animal flesh or meat or, concentrated protein, that's what that's the biggest question. But anyhow, I don't understand why they ask that, because I say I eat predominantly fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Even
Right.
if you don't believe that protein is in fruits and vegetables,
You
I just say
believe
I
it's
eat
in
nuts and
nuts and
seeds.
seeds. Right.
Right. So
Right.
nuts and seeds got a huge amount of proteins in there. But nonetheless, even the fruits and vegetables got enough. But that's not what I'm trying to, bring home here. She was more or less asking me, well, you don't eat even no seafood? I was like, well, that's the fruit that I eat, and I eat it, and I call that food. But you talking about food out of the sea? No, I don't eat that. You know what I'm saying? Unless it was probably some, and kind of against that, but like some seaweed, like using dulse or something like that,
All
sprinkle
right.
on.
Right. Right.
So she was like, well, I eat seafood, but it always, I'm allergic to it real bad. I said, well, why are you eating it? Your body is telling you to stay away from it. And she was like, well, I'll just take something for it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah, I'll just take something for it. Now, in another sense, it was said, um, she said, well, what about beans and peas? You can get protein from beans and peas. I said, no, that's a bad digestion thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's pretty much what you said. It's like a sandwich
It's a
wrapped up in a bean.
carbohydrate and a protein. Right.
Because you got 50% protein, 50% carbs, right? That's
Right.
why most people, just about everybody who eat it, get gas. Everybody who eat beans and peas get gas.
Right. Right.
So we know that that's indigestible because the body is letting you know that it's breaking down faulty. Now, if we
Mm-hmm.
put bad gas in the car and they start putting and doing all type of stuff, we say, I ain't going back to get no more of that.
Yeah, I'm not going to that gas station no more. I ain't putting none of that 87 in my car no more.
So, but why
Yeah.
do we do it with beans and peas? We sit there, eat them beans and peas, and blow up the whole house all night long. Them pork and beans and all that stuff.
Because we at the top of the food chain.
That's true. So she said, well, I tell you what, won't you just take some Beano before you eat the bean? I'm just going to take some Beano, and there'll be no gas. You know what I mean? I said, well, where the gas going? If that
Wow.
pill can stop that gas from rumbling in my stomach, well, what's going on with the stuff in there? How
Wow.
toxic is this Beano pill to interrupt the body's natural breakdown of beans and peas?
Wow.
That got to be a poisonous substance. You got the purple pill. They tell you, hey man, it's hard for you to eat hamburgers now. You used to eating 2 hamburgers. Now 2 hamburgers is too much for anybody to eat. 1 hamburger is really too much, but eat 2. And you go to the doctor complaining, hey, I used to be able to eat 2 to 3 hamburgers at one time. Now, if I just smell a hamburger, it just make me nauseous and sick. Oh, we can't have that. We got to have you eating hamburgers back.
Right. We got
Why
to
would
make
we
sure you can
deprive
eat
a
3
man of his
hamburgers.
hamburgers?
We got to make sure you can eat 3
Right.
hamburgers.
So take this purple pill 30 minutes before you eat, and you won't have no problem eating that hamburger. So they're giving us a pill to sin. The sin is eating the hamburger, but they're
Wow.
giving us pills and potions to allow us to keep up our sin.
Wow.
And we go back to it easily. Oh boy, I can go back to eating hamburgers now, boy. Now you end up with an ulcer of the stomach.
Wow.
Oh, I don't know where this ulcer come from. I ain't never had it before. Well, nobody never have a disease until they build it. You build a disease. I get that a lot. I hear that a lot. Well, I never had diabetes before, doc. I don't know where it's coming from. Well, let's talk about it. I can tell you where it's coming from. When did you expect to have diabetes?
Right.
Or when did you expect to have the ulcer? No
Right.
one had a disease before it
Right.
actually developed.
Right.
Now,
Wow.
so that's why I'm sharing this about this relief thing, right? We just want relief where we can go back to the very thing that caused us our issue. So I'm going to go back to reading. A palliative will relieve our discomfort, but it will not break us of gluttony. So yeah, the purple pill might, allow us to go back to eat and stop our stomach from hurting, stop the nausea, but it won't stop us from overeating and doing damage to our stomach. You know, you go break your arm, right? And or let's say you don't even break it. Let's say you end up with some type of itis of the joint up in the shoulder, is usually called bursitis. So let's say that you get this so-called bursitis, right? In this arm right here. And that got it where it's painful to lift it. It's painful to move it. So you're just sitting there holding it, right? Well, while you're sitting there holding it and feeling the pain, your body is not making you use that arm. It's not, you're unable to use it. You're unable to, do all this. You ain't up there, riding the cowboy. You ain't doing none of that because your arm hurt. But if you take a pain pill and you can't feel the pain, guess what you're doing? You're
use it.
Oh, I can move this arm again.
You ride them cowboy again.
Type of stuff. Huh?
I say you ride them cowboy again.
Ride the cowboy again. But then what happened? The pain returned. The pill wear off. The little magic pill wear off, and now you're there. Oh my God, this pain is tremendous. It's worse than I had it the first time. And you take another pill. Oh, I can use my arm again. And you just repeat this cycle until it get to a point where the pill don't work no more, and your pain is so worse than it was at the beginning that now they're saying now you got to have some surgery. You got to have something done to that arm now, or you about to lose that arm.
Right.
Something like that. So this is the medical mindset of healing your disease is really destructive, and it can prove you much failure in the end. So this is Gandhi. A lot of people know Gandhi, right? You know Gandhi. Well, Gandhi says, I overeat, I have indigestion. I go to a doctor, he gives me medicine. I am cured, I overeat again and take his pills again. Had I not taken the pills in the first instance, I would have suffered the punishment deserved me. And I would not have overeaten again.
Wow.
A continuance of a course of medicine must therefore result in a loss of control of the mind. Now that's Gandhi. That's not crazy. If we didn't suppress and palliate our symptoms, it will stop us from doing bad. A lot of people, if they didn't get drunk from drinking alcohol, don't start slurring out the mouth, don't doze off to sleep, and they sitting there just steady pouring it, and they're not feeling nothing. They can just sit there and just keep poisoning themselves with alcohol. They would kill themselves in one night at the bar. But the body is putting in like stops, telling you, hey, that pain is a warning sign. Or matter of fact, they call it a guardian angel. All right, so pain is a guardian angel. Imagine if you didn't feel pain. Imagine if you walked right into a fire and you could not feel pain. You didn't know you was in the fire because there was no pain. You didn't feel the pain of burning flesh or anything like that. So you won't be able to know that you are in a bad situation because you have no nervous ability to experience pain. So pain is a guardian angel. The closer you get to the fire, the more warning the body is telling you, hey, man, you're getting too close to something that's hot. Back up. So pain is always there as a guardian angel telling you, don't use this. Don't go there. Stop right here. Like, what's his name? Oh boy, King of Comedy, when he talking about he was sitting in the car with his wife and he talking about he hate riding in the car with his wife, Bernie Mac, talking about, don't stop there. The red light there, don't turn this way. Well, that's what the pain does for us in our body. It's a guardian angel to protect us at all times, So we don't want to suppress pain because how are we going to know the danger ahead of us? Or the danger that, is in the future for us if we continue the route that we're going. So we need to, and if we get rid of the pain, then we're going to continuously do the bad thing that's going to eventually have us in a really bad ditch, a big pit, that's that's going to have us drowning in our own misery. So it's best for us to deal with it, go through the pain, suffer the pain, and don't go back to it. Does that make sense?
It does, Dr. Frazier, but I just because we've dealt with people, and I'll use me. I'll use myself for an example, because when I fall off, I fall off, you know? And it's almost as if we're comfortable with our pain. See, what Gandhi is talking about is I was a glutton. I was gluttonous. Is that what that was? That's the thing that he was saying, right? I overate. I ate until I was stuffed in it, and I hurt. You know, I think a lot of people have had that experience. You eat until you're sick, eat yourself sick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we. And I don't want to say I don't think that we care, you know, but I don't think that we really get it. Like, we suffer, we do, but it's almost as if we're so accustomed to the suffering that
I get where you're coming from on that. I get where you're coming from on that as well. That's
so that we
about too.
And that's why it takes so much, and we don't really ever take control of our health until it's almost too late.
All right, Michaela, you about to start making everybody cry up here, right?
I'm
So
sorry.
we're going to stop it today. Because you're going to make them responsible for their own health here now. But we're running out of time. That's the real reason I stopped you. They need to hear this, what you're talking about. So we'll tell them you'll be up here next Tuesday.
I'll be here next Tuesday to make you cry.
Make you cry. And minister the ways of health. We want to thank y'all for tuning into another episode of Natural is Health. We'll be here every Tuesday at 6 o'clock live, bringing you the ways of health. We're teaching out of the book and letting you have a better understanding of what health is without the use of the medicine name. Get your life back in order by following us to health using natural hygiene. Best of health and happiness, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Mm-hmm.